Hey guys, Akimurasak here. Today we are going to be talking about gaming of ages past. There's been something going on recently with Lords of the Fallen, the second one, not the first one. That has been announced recently. We have some new character designs, new armor designs, and I genuinely feel like we've traveled back in time around 20 years. I'm not even freaking joking. Things are looking real good. However, some people are not happy. What a surprise, gee. So we have Marek Tymiński here. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He's the founder and CEO of CI Games and one of the creators of Lords of the Fallen. Lords of the Fallen has a very interesting history. Initially, the game was not exactly a success. It was kind of sort of mid. There's been a lot of I wouldn't say weird design choices, but it's been design choices that were not controversial, but divisive, is probably how one would put it. And many people didn't really like the game. There's been also some DEI drama going in the background. It's not super relevant. But in general, the reception of the game was mid. And so a couple of years later, I think like last year or 2 years ago, probably last year, they decided to kind of refresh the game a little bit. They added changes, they added improvements. And what was very interesting, and why I think this is like an unintentional social experiment in the gaming industry, was that Marek Tymiński, after a lot of backlash from the fans, and after a lot of really direct and sometimes very aggressive and very vocal clashes with the gamers, he came to the conclusion, hey guys, I'm gonna listen to you. What do you have to say about Lords of the Fallen? How can we, the industry, how can we, the studio of CI Games, make the game better? And people said, you know how it is with gamers. Some gamers have ideas but don't really know how to put them into something very concrete. They have just very vague ideas. However, he went to social media, he went to X, he listened to people, he listened to the gamers. And then he came back and he started implementing some of the things, and wouldn't you know, the game suddenly started rolling back into fame and people actually liked it. Now, of course, this is not like a quadruple A+ title, but it looks very polished in its current state, I have to say. I've seen a couple of trailers, a couple of clips, gameplays from Lords of the Fallen 1, the first one, and it looked really freaking decent, okay? It's a dark fantasy take. Dark fantasy. Dark Souls is dark fantasy anyway. But it's a very strictly gruesome dark fantasy take on the Dark Souls, on the Souls-like genre. Has definitely its own identity when it comes to like visual appeal and visual direction. And it does stand out quite a bit from the crowd. It also plays quite well. So here's the thing, he listened to the gamers, he implemented the changes, and he is now continuously trying to collect feedback from gamers. Now obviously not everyone likes this, right? And so we also have Ryan Hill, who as far as I know is the marketing director, who also announced here on Twitter that it's been an absolute pleasure co-creating our 5 new female-focused armors. This is for Lords of the Fallen 2, for the sequel, alongside our art team and the background NPC. If you don't know the background NPC is a gamer girl, and an actual gamer girl who is kind of how we used to be as players back in the day, back in the late 90s, back in the early 2000s. She's exactly that kind of player. And what really strikes me about the background NPC is that she's always incredibly positive. And this is the kind of attitude I personally think we need more. I very often am guilty of being a little too much. I admit this, okay, straight away. She, however, is not. She's very honest, very polite, yet straightforward. And this is the kind of gamers that I think should carry the gaming community into better communication with game studios. Now, of course, we have background NPC, we have Marek Tymiński, we have Ryan Hill here. They're talking about the overall direction they want to go to here with these designs. We're going to see the designs. We also wanted to capture the bold energy of the 80s and 90s fantasy franchises such as Conan, Redstonia, Excalibur with their mythical mist-shrouded sword and sorcery worlds. Chef's kiss. Can't wait to see players wearing them in game alongside plenty of other armor, this is important, of other armor options to suit every style. Now there's also been congratulations here from, as far as I know, like I'm just going to, here it says fan page, okay, let's assume fan page in this case. Souls-like contender, Lords of the Fallen 2, unveiled the set of female armor, yada yada. Here is the female armor, let's have a look. How does this look? It looks pretty freaking decent, yeah. The left one here, the most left one, fairly classical. We have like a witch or a mage or a warlock here, second from the left. And then we have kind of like the holy armor, I'm assuming this is. It seems quite inspired by both like Greek mythology, but probably also, I'm sort of thinking like Mu Online as well, Mu Online, probably. Then we have the last armor here on the right. We're gonna see some more armors later as well. That kind of looks a bit like it's inspired by some of the sexy mods for Skyrim. Anyway, as you can see, all of this is concept art. So it's not necessarily the way this is going to appear in game. This is just kind of early concept art. I would say it looks pretty decent. I like it. Now, of course, not everyone is happy because apparently we have people like this here. A cosplayer who likes posing nearly naked on social media, and yet she says, nah, these armors are too gunnery, you know, they're too good. Like, why should boys have their cool, sexy female armors while she posts stuff like this? And this is very common. I don't even understand, to be honest, why there's a lot of girls online who are seeing dudes having fun. And then you look at their media tab and yeah, lo and behold, they're basically either cosplayers or more often I would say cam girls or OnlyFans models. Big quotation marks here. Yeah, this is very common. I don't know what is with women online, some women highlight here, some women online needing to gatekeep how female characters are presented in gaming. I will never understand this. No, I actually know the answer. This is going to come in some of my later videos, but anyway. Of course, we also have game journalists. It wouldn't be a day whose name ends in Y if we didn't have game journalists in full panic mode over the fact that a game in 2026 dared to announce to have sexy female characters in it. Oh my god. Of course it's Polygon, because again, wouldn't be a weekday without Polygon. Action RPG devs make a desperate plea for relevance with horny armor designs. Now what I said earlier, it's not a desperate plea. It's Mark Tyminski acting as the community manager and CEO and directly relaying the requests and expectations of gamers about the upcoming game. That does not seem like a desperate plea to me. You know what it's called? Communication. You should try it sometimes. It's really good. It's also good for your health to talk to real people and not go on Polygon and write another smeary article like this one here. Now, of course, then we also have Mark Tyminski defending himself. I kind of like this. He does call out that there is a textbook activist indoctrination. He's very anti-activism nowadays. And he does, of course, say what's been said already earlier, is that these sexy female armors are not the only armors you will see in the game, obviously. But of course, these are the ones that the gaming journalists have a problem with. Now we're gonna go to yet another article from this esteemed publication called Push Square that I've personally never heard of, but maybe some of you guys have. So let's see here. Liam Croft. Liam Croft has already been called Liam Coxon, Liam Son of Cock, whatever. Doesn't matter. I'm not gonna be slandering anyone here. But what Liam writes is that CI Games has revealed a selection of female armor designs for the upcoming Lords of the Fallen 2, and what it has to offer looks like it's stuck 100 years in the past. We've went through the armors already. I personally think it's not stuck 100 years in the past. I think we're talking Greek mythology here, so it's hundreds of years in the past, in fact. And yeah, so he's pointing out, you want it fierce, you want it beautiful, you want it provocative. This is what you get. I am happy with what we are getting. And I say this as a gamer. Probably unlike Liam Croft, nothing to do with Lara Croft, of course. Now, what I find very interesting about Liam's complaining is that, let's see here, this comes from the same corner of the internet that believes Western AAA keep failing with their female character designs. That is actually true. They're not great. They're either super censored or they just take away all of the female empowerment. We're going to go to female empowerment at the very end. I'm going to show you how female empowerment in gaming really looks like. So yeah, so his problem is that it's much less armor and more titillating clothing. The protection these armor sets would give a person is minimal. Now, what if I told you it's a fantasy game? I know, right? Shocking. And then he's complaining that chests and bellies are in full show, and so too are thighs and most of the legs. Oh my lord, I am horrified. Too much body. This is completely forbidden. You can't show this to people. Oh my gosh, oh my golly. Isn't armor supposed to protect your entire body from attacks? I don't know. Ask Red Sonja and Conan, because they're barely wearing anything. And also, again, it's a fantasy game, duh. My guy, stop complaining. But of course, he draws comparisons with the previous game that the designs were far less revealing. Okay, fair enough. This time they're going to be, at least some of them are going to be a little more revealing. Now, I just want to point out though, and this is why the activism here comes into play. These are the more revealing designs. These are not the only designs. Some of the other female armor is not as revealing. What that tells me is that there is a wide variety of armor, and also the first one here. The first one, top left, top right. Are these super revealing? Not really. They're just standard stylized fantasy female armor. That's what we used to have back 20, plus years ago, I guess. Early 2000s, guess remember? And of course, a lot of changes in the direction marketing tactic stems from CI Games itself, with its founder and CEO Mark Tyminski leaning into the incorrect idea of DEI elements ruining gaming. Are you trying to tell me that DEI elements are actually helping gaming? Like, are we so for real right now? Are they helping gaming? I really do not think so. No. I've seen games that are called DEI games, and they were absolutely horribly, badly written, terrible stories, uninteresting, with horrendously ugly characters. So no, I'm sorry to say this, DEI elements are definitely not helping gaming, and neither are you, Liam, here. But yeah. And so, of course, he points out that while some video games have recently taken the opportunity to embed social or political agendas with their experiences, it is clear that many players do not appreciate this, and that is true. And as a result, we have seen a number of high-profile releases underperforming commercially during the last year. Now, to be 100% clear, and also to a little bit play devil's advocate here, I don't think these releases failed merely because of DEI. There are some games that had, of course, DEI designs or whatever were loaded with agendas. These failed straight away, but also these failed because they really didn't have an audience whatsoever. Because, like, if your entire game is just political agenda, not a lot of people want to play this. And especially if that agenda is just, like, anti-moralistic. Like, if you, for instance, I give you an example of Dustborn. Dustborn follows a band that is committing all sorts of acts of violence, crime, like actual crime, and is working against any sort of law enforcement, against any sort of morals. Now, for any normal person, and also it's being sold as good, okay? So the lack of morals and being a criminal is sold as a morally positive thing. Now, to the average person who's been around, reading books, gaming, this doesn't make any sense, because people know from like everyday life, from their own moral compasses and personal ethics, fighting against the law just because and just being a mean person is not morally good. You cannot redress it because there is some kind of like a bigger moral cause, bigger good cause, artificial cause usually, that you're fighting for, and that justifies everything. No, if you're a criminal, you're a criminal. It's really that simple. And the majority of normal people cannot actually see this. But of course there's that, and there's also the just simple fact that there wasn't really an audience for these games. And when it comes to other bigger releases, they are underperforming for a lot of different reasons. They're over designs, they have overblown budgets, they miss the appeal. They try to appeal to an audience that really doesn't play these games. They try to go for a genre that doesn't have a big audience. Like, for instance, one of the bigger things recently are looter shooters. And for whatever reason, every single studio needs to have a looter shooter or a hero shooter or whatever. And there's already, and like, this market has already been more or less saturated. And in order to break through, you need to have a game that has personality, that has character. If you're just, creating yet another random, run-of-the-mill hero shooter, you're not going to succeed. You're going to make a mid-game. In the Western gaming market, this is not going to make any return on investments. I'm sorry to say this. So yeah, this interesting social experiment, I'm kind of curious whether it's going to succeed. I am looking forward to the results. I'm really curious, and I'm hoping for the best, honestly, for both Ryan Hill, for Mark Tyminski as well. But let's see. But of course, Liam here is completely upset. I think this last paragraph is extremely telling. That the 2023 game Lords of the Fallen wasn't affected by these ideas when it was released, but it has since been updated post-launch to lean into the idea that DEI is bad. The ideas that DEI is bad crowd barks. Wow. One example is the decision to remove the body type A or B option from the game's character creator to replace it with a strict male or female toggle. Now, no one so far has a good explanation why we should call ourselves type A or B. Especially if gender or male or female has any relevance to the story whatsoever. There's absolutely no excuse for using type A and B. It just sounds comical, I'm sorry. Liam, I'm gonna be honest with you. You are making amazing marketing for the game. You are making people want to buy the game. You know why? Because they're doing a good job. Because you're showcasing, you're doing the marketing, you're showcasing how great the game might actually be. Because if you are genuinely upset that CI Games decided to remove body type A or B from the game, oh my god, you need to go outside, play some soccer, touch grass, play some cards, I don't know, read a book or something. Because man, that's kind of lame, you know? You're upset that they removed type A or B. Really? Really? Boy, Liam. Anyway, I also kind of want to show a little bit here the amazing designs from Wuthering Waves. Yes, here's for instance Augusta. As you can see, she has lag. She has a lot of lag. Great design inspired by Greek mythology, ancient Greece. I think a little bit like when you look at that area, when you look at Seven Hills in Wuthering Waves, I have a feeling it has different inspirations from different time periods, a little bit like ancient Greece, a little bit, not really Rome, but I gotta say ancient Greece, Sumerians, Mesopotamia as well, you know, the kind of the Fertile Crescent region. This is possibly where it draws all of its inspiration. Augusta here, I want to say quote-unquote the goddess of the sun. She really is not a goddess, but don't want to spoil anymore. You should definitely play the game. And here we also have another character or a couple of other characters from Wuthering Waves just to showcase you the designs. We have also Yuno, who has an amazing design, slightly more revealing, but it does match also the kind of character she is, that she acts as a priestess, and it really matches her design. There's some inspiration here, I think, from Fate Stay, if you remember some of these characters. Definitely looking great, revealing, but also just elegant, pure elegance. Lots of thought went into these designs. I absolutely love them. And we have a couple of others. We have Cesar here as well, and we have Galbrena. That's one of the later characters. As you can see here, yeah, of course, she's showing a bit of belly here, some navel. Very nice design, more in tune, I think, with the Renacida region. But yeah, love it as well. Great, very detailed, very interesting. So yeah, all of these designs are actually quite revealing, and people love them. Girls want to cosplay them. Guys, sorry, slip. Guys want to see them in the game. And you know what else I see in Wuthering Waves? I see strong female characters. Yes, like actually well-designed, well-written, strong female characters. See, it's possible. But in order to be able to have such characters, you need to stop with the agendas, guys. You really need to, like Liam, please just sit back and let the guys at CI Games make the game, go play the game, and then have an opinion. But yeah, play Wuthering Waves, don't be like Liam. Peace. Mata ne!